Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Janelle and I discuss all things mental health, wellness, self-love, and everything in between. Let's get story time. So I'm exposing myself here a little bit because I think it will help someone else, and there is no shame when it comes to growth and self-love. Growing up, I didn't know I actually had low self-esteem. There weren't conversations around self-love and people asking you, how do you feel about yourself? I was passive and I had this whatever attitude. But when I actually started to work on myself years later, I realized that my unbothered attitude was a mask. My self-worth was non-existent, and I didn't realize that I was actually shrinking myself. The reason why I was so oblivious was because I never thought about myself. And it sounds weird, but I was just existing. I wasn't in touch with my own feelings, and my unbothered exterior actually hid my fear of rejection. That's how disconnected I actually was from myself. And that's a whole nother story, but for now, when I actually look back and analyze how I was, the biggest challenge that I had was my height and my weight. And I was always thin growing up, and I was taller than everyone else. I was taller than all the guys, I was taller than all the girls. And just for reference, I'm 6 feet with no shoes. I remember not wearing makeup until my late 20s and early 30s because I didn't want to stand out. I would always wear baggy clothes to hide how skinny I was. And when I say baggy clothes, I mean baggy clothes. I was shopping in the men's department purchasing XXL. And a part of the reason was because when you shop in the women's section, they don't have a lot of items that's gonna fit long limbs. Well, the joke was on me because I was trying to hide myself, but I didn't realize I was actually standing out. When you wear baggy clothes on a really thin frame, you do not hide. You actually look smaller, and it looks like the clothes are wearing you. It's like the clothes are hanging on a hanger. It wasn't until my late 20s and early 30s that I actually decided to change my mindset. I started to pray more, and I told myself that God made me in His image, and I have one body, and I'm going to appreciate it, and I'm going to be very grateful. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, enough is enough. One big yet small feat that I had to overcome was actually learning how to accept a compliment. I would never just say thank you and walk away because I didn't believe the person. I was so uncomfortable and I wanted to hide. And I would say, okay, sure. Or I'd give them the side eye. And I finally said to myself, if I don't love myself, I don't appreciate myself, who will? I was so tired of worrying about what other people had to say or assuming the worst. I realized that beauty came in all different shapes and sizes. And although that is a very cliche statement, I finally stopped caring. And if someone didn't accept me for me, then they weren't meant to be in my life. I had to realize that not everyone is a friend. A friend won't make fun of you. A friend won't judge you. And when it came to dating, if a guy didn't appreciate me for me, then he wasn't for me. And the right people will not make you feel less than. They will accept you and have your back. If you're currently struggling with this, then you haven't found the right people. And always remember, not everyone deserves access to you because not everyone will treat you with love and kindness. Let me tell you something. How you feel and look is determined by you and you alone. Once you accept yourself, the opinion of others will just be background noise. For me, it felt like a flip of the switch at the time, but I know it did take time. I turned to God to help me navigate that time in my life because I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to continue to allow others to dictate how I should feel about myself. You can dye your hair, you can lose weight, you can gain weight, you can wear makeup, lash extensions, and purchase a whole new wardrobe. But when it's nighttime and all of those things come off or they fade away, you're just left with you. That's why doing the inner work is the most important first step. Take back control by engaging in positive self-talk, write down affirming statements, step outside of the comfort zone, and block out all the negative noise. I had to decide what the next chapter of my life was going to look like. And it didn't look like hiding my height or my body. It didn't look like just existing. I was determined to start new. Wearing makeup, losing or gaining weight, purchasing new clothes can definitely help boost your self-esteem in the moment, but for how long? I've seen people lose tons of weight, but all they would see in the mirror was their old image. That's because the inner work didn't start. A common theme that comes up with some of the people that I work with is, where do I start? What if I don't like anything about myself? Ask yourself this question. Whose narrative did you internalize? Is it social media, your mom, your dad, your peers, society? Once you realize that the narrative you carry isn't your own, you can challenge it because it never belonged to you. It was placed on you by someone who has their own agenda or their own standard of beauty. But what makes their opinion accurate? Who made them the decision maker of beauty and what you're supposed to look like? I see women who are my height, my weight, and they are dressed to impress. I can appreciate how confident they are, and it makes me feel like I could also go out and be confident in my own skin. The narrative that I'm too tall or I'm too skinny is rubbish. It was never my narrative to begin with. It was imposed on me by someone else. Because it didn't start with me, I can now challenge its validity. I can separate myself from the statement by creating my own. What right does anyone have to judge you and your body? Let's stop allowing people to control how we feel about ourselves. Another tip I suggest is to stop comparing yourself to other people. Easier said than done, yes, I know, but you have to stop. You may see someone with a small nose, a larger bust, a tiny waist, long hair, but guess what? You are not them. You may have a larger nose, a larger waist, short hair, and a small butt. Guess what? That's the beauty of you. I'm sure you've heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, and it's very true. When you compare yourself, you don't have a chance. Her skin is clear. Her feet are smaller. She gets all the attention. Her hair is longer. Who cares? Seriously, who cares? You know nothing about that person. You don't know if they're happy. You don't know if they're depressed. Are they even a good person? Did they get work done? Do they have a personal trainer? Or perhaps they just won the genetic lottery. So what? We are all unique, and that's what makes us interesting. Once you challenge the narrative, start to look at yourself through a new lens of appreciation. Silence the negative voice with your new statement of appreciation. It may take time, yes, but it is possible. Remember when I talked about the external work, such as going to the gym, playing with makeup, wearing new clothes, and exploring different hairstyles? Because you're actually now starting to do the inner work, you can start to incorporate all of those methods that I mentioned. And those methods are not going to be superficial because you're actually doing the inner work to make it stick. Another tip is to find someone that you admire. Not someone that you want to be, but someone who exudes confidence and takes up space, someone who is unapologetically them. Maybe you like their style, maybe you like how they speak freely without fear of judgment. Work towards that. Remember, you're not trying to copy them, but you can appreciate their confidence, and perhaps you can actually start to intertwine that into your own way of being. I slowly started to appreciate myself by stepping outside of my comfort zone and seeing other women who looked like me do the same thing. I wasn't hiding anymore, and I allowed myself to be seen. Give it a try. At this point, what do you have to lose? If you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching. And if you're still working on your self-esteem, comment below. What are some things that you're doing to make improvements on yourself? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Bye for now.